Well, Mr. Glass as usual and is on the injury list and will probably be out the remainder of the season. I guess depending on when he can get healthy and how far we get in the playoffs, maybe there could be a return, but I'm not surprised that it turned into this.
We better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yeah, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope everyone is going to their weekend with a big smile on their face and not having to worry about football this weekend. And the Eagles already played. We can enjoy watching football on Sunday and enjoying all this other stuff. But we obviously have to get down to business from some of the injuries that happened in this Eagles versus Vikings Thursday night game. And one in particular that we are not completely surprised over is Avonte Maddox. It looks like the MRI, Avonte Maddox did take the MRI. He did leave in the first half with injury, which made I think Mario Goodrich come into the game. And good for Mario Goodrich to get some playing time, which is always a great thing. But we've been dealing with the Avonte Maddox issue. Contract year for Avonte Maddox this year, and it looks like he has a torn pectoral. Which he could be out the rest. He could be out the rest of the year, maybe. Depending on the Eagles make it far in the playoffs, there could. I don't know how far. I know. I don't know. I forgot who had this injury. I think the last time somebody had this injury, I think it was. I don't know if it was Derek Barnett or it was Brandon Graham. I think it was Derek Barnett at one point had an injury like this. He was out the whole entire year. So I'm not surprised over this. The guy can't stay healthy. He was hurt 2 times last year, and thank God we made it to the Super Bowl because that's the only way he was able to return the second time last year from injury. First, he was dealing with the toe injury during training camp, and now he is dealing with the torn pectoral. So it's just ridiculous at this point. And I don't see the Eagles re-signing Avonte Maddox after this year. Maybe I don't know, but if you can't rely on somebody to stay in, then nickel corner is a weak position at some point. I don't think Mario Goodrich played up to par too much. There were some good things to take out of it, and had some issues covering Hawkinson in the game, and that's just unfortunate. So going forward, what are the Eagles going to do here? Well, the Eagles made some roster moves the other day, releasing linebacker Rashaan Evans. That literally, when Nakobe Dean got hurt, they signed Rashaan Evans out of free agency because we're kind of one more injury away from looking pretty bad at linebacker right now. I mean, we're already thin as it is at linebacker. And now Rashaan Evans is gone. So now they have to compensate for another position at nickel corner, which is, just it's just very thin right now. So I don't think I don't think they're comfortable with Mario Goodrich going into these other games. And Trey Sermon was waived. So see if they'll see what happens off injury reserve. Trey Sermon's still hurt right now. I mean, that's kind of crazy. It's been a while. What was it? The ankle? I forgot what injury, or a hamstring or something like that. I don't know what he had, but it's unfortunate. So the Eagles free up 2 spots. What does this mean? What are the Eagles going to do? We saw, James Bradberry is going to be back. He was on concussion protocol because it was a short week. He couldn't play in the Thursday night game. Now, we understand that James Bradberry did have some playing time on the inside, during training camp. And they were putting him at the nickel spot a good amount of times, and maybe he can handle those bigger tight ends, bigger receivers, something like that. So I think it would make sense in some point if they feel like if they can move Bradberry to the inside, maybe they have a lot of faith in Josh Jobe. Didn't think Josh Jobe had a bad game against the Vikings. I think he was supposed to have safety help from Justin Evans on the Addison touchdown that he kind of lost on that play. So I think that was the reason why I think he was supposed to have some safety help, just didn't get it. So they could put Josh Jobe on the outside, maybe compensate for it if they feel comfortable. I think this will be a matchup per matchup type thing if they can afford to put Bradberry on the inside. But if the offense is way too much with too many good receivers, they'll have to keep him on the outside and then really compensate for that nickel spot, which I don't know if Goodrich is going to be the answer. I feel like a move is coming, but this could be something that they could do for some games. Maybe they put Eli Ricks on the inside, or they want to put him on the outside. I don't know. Eli Ricks is more of an outside guy, but I don't know if they feel like flipping guys around. I know Eli Ricks hasn't really gotten a chance in a real NFL game yet, so it should be really interesting. So I think this would be something that they could do going forward in the matchup. The Eagles have 10 days off, so A lot of time to figure this out in the meantime. Could they bring back a familiar face to Philadelphia, Crevon LeBlanc, that was here for a few years and played pretty well? Could play inside corner, outside corner. I know he played in the XFL, I think, for the Renegades. I could be wrong. I think that's what I read because I haven't really known. I think he went to the Raiders and he went to the Miami Dolphins and probably went to the XFL. For the year or something like that. So is familiar with the team, could play inside, outside. He was another guy that had some injury issues when he was here, but, at times played at a pretty high level for us. And maybe could, the Eagles might want to bring him in as a veteran presence for the secondary that could play in the nickel spot really well. And, we'll see. That's definitely an option out there. The interesting thing, even because we're not even talking about nickel corner right now. So say if they want to put Bradbury on the inside, they want to keep Job on the outside or something like that. Maybe, it's funny because the Eagles released two players, Trey Sermon, Rashaan Evans, and all of a sudden Budda Baker was like on the injury report out of nowhere. They haven't even played a game yet. I think they play the Giants on Sunday, at 4:00 for what time the game is. But Budda Baker was added to the injury report out of nowhere with a hamstring injury. If it's even true, I'm not saying this is anything, but I just thought it was weird that this happened the same day. And I understand, the Eagles would never trade with the Cardinals because of Jonathan Gannon. And I understand that the Budda Baker got a little bit of a raise with the Cardinals, and who knows how many Cardinal players are actually happy playing in Arizona right now. So this would be kind of interesting. I know the Eagles, I think, do the Eagles need help at safety more than nickel corner right now? Maybe, maybe not, depending on how they look at it. If they want to move Bradbury to the inside, like I've said for the third time, would be an interesting one. Even Jeremy Chin, they always make a trade for him because Jeremy Chin not only could play safety, but he could play inside, outside as well. Is a nice hybrid move around piece for a defense. So you can always move him around and plays at a high level. So they can always make a trade for that if they really want to. So theoretically, I think they're going to go after or try to trade for somebody, or this is for a completely different position why they're releasing Sermon and releasing Rashaan Evans and saying, let's go get a safety or something. I mean, it could be for a completely different position, but I think the Bradbury thing is interesting if, they want to move him to the inside and maybe they have a lot of faith in Josh Jobe. Because like I said, Josh Jobe, I thought played pretty damn well, besides not getting the safety help on that Addison touchdown, which he should have had safety help and didn't get it. Could be something in the mix there, but I'm not going to put too much on it. But I feel like something's simmering at a certain position, and I don't think it is linebacker as much as Nakobe Dean's going to miss a month. I think the linebacker, I think Nicholas Morrow played good. I think even Zach Cunningham has been one of the most underrated players of this team the past couple of weeks. I think he's played pretty damn well, as a veteran free agent coming in and, pairing up a little bit. So I've actually liked the tandem, even with the Vikings game. I thought he looked pretty good. So don't know what they're doing here, but a move is going to get made. What does Howie have up his sleeve? Always upgrading this roster. Could be looking for a trade. I feel like the Eagles will be very active before the trade deadline of week 9 of the season. So if the Eagles feel like they need to double down on a certain position and get somebody in here, God forbid, injuries do happen any game of the week, but the Eagles really need these 10 days to really figure this out. And, I feel like something's getting done here. I just don't know where it's happening. Really depends on how much faith they have at Josh Jobe on the outside, if they want to put Bradbury to the inside, and if they feel like maybe they need an upgrade at safety. Maybe they need to add another guy to linebacker. I have no idea. I could say Devin White, could say, I don't know. It could be anybody at this point, but it would be, I don't know, but you don't release two guys for nothing, for no reason here, unless you're bringing somebody in or you're trading for somebody or they're going to make a move at a position, because Howie Roseman's definitely got something up his sleeve going forward. And maybe we need more help at a certain position that we really need that we're not really realizing. Could be going after a big trade. I don't know. I'm not expecting a big trade, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do it. Nothing really surprised me anymore when it comes to Howie Roseman being aggressive to get a specific player. If you guys remember, we after Jordan Davis got hurt last year, they went after Linval Joseph, went after Ndamukong Suh. They've kind of filled in two guys. They added they got rid of one linebacker. Nakobe Dean got hurt in the offseason. They got two linebackers. They got Zach Cunningham and Miles Jack. Miles Jack retired. They got rid of I mean that's what they usually do. I mean, he's constantly tuning the roster and trying to make it more of a strength. So interesting to see where they're going here. If it's not nickel corner, which I'm thinking it is, right? I mean, and I don't think there's any free agents really out there besides Craven LeBlanc that just has familiarity with this team. But it could be somebody else that maybe a name we're not really thinking of. Look at names that have 1 year left on their contract. They're not big cap hits for the year, and the Eagles bring this person in to really get some help and could end up keeping that person if Avonte Maddox comes back later on. If he can from a pectoral, I don't know if he can. It's very early in the season he gets this injury, so there might be a shot of him coming back. But as for the future of Avonte Maddox, it's not very bright in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform. So we'll see where this goes, but it's going to be interesting. The last thing I want to talk about is the snap count, and really is Nolan Smith. Nolan Smith is it's very obvious that Nolan Smith is not getting enough snaps. I think he had 6 snaps. I think he had 6 or 7 snaps in the first game, 6 or 7 snaps in the second game for the Vikings. I think most of it's really on special teams. I don't even remember times he's even in the defensive lineup. This is a first-round pick. There is no excuse to have this guy getting 6, 7 snaps a game, okay? I mean, at this point, maybe Barnett, maybe there's a Barnett trade happening. Maybe something's going on with him. I don't know. And Barnett has 1 tackle for loss in the first game, and that is it. He's done absolutely nothing else. Reddick hasn't really done much of anything either at defensive end. They're, the production but Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham have brought more pressures and have done a lot more on the edge than those 2 guys right now. Hassan Reddick could have issues with his hand, with the thumb. I don't know what it is, but I'm actually surprised Reddick's really not doing more right now. Getting some pressure. He could have had a sack in the first game, but Mac Jones kind of threw the ball, before he was getting him down, while he was getting taken down to the ground. This is a first-round pick, guys. I mean, Nolan Smith, and he's listed as a linebacker the past couple weeks. He's been listed as a linebacker. If you're not going to use him as a linebacker, put him as a defensive end. He's got so much athleticism. He's got so much more to bring to the table. I was hearing from people in some of the comment sections about Nolan Smith, and they were pretty much like, oh, maybe he's just sitting back and he's learning. Dude, he's a first-round pick. There's no learning. This guy is either playing linebacker or he's going to be an off-the-ball linebacker. I don't know what he's doing, but you got to put him somewhere here. And if you're not going to do that, put him as an edge rusher. Look what he did in the offseason. Look what he did in some of these preseason games. He got pressure. He could do it. He's got such good, like I said, he's got such good athleticism. You can line him up wide. You can let him pick his poison and just be aggressive with it. Just his bend around the edge is so good, and he just needs to get better. But you're not giving this guy opportunity. Sean Desai, what are you doing with Nolan Smith in this defense? I'm just not getting it. I want to know what you guys think about it, because I think it's important, man. Like, you had another first-round pick this past year, and you used it on Nolan Smith. We were all happy about it, and you're barely giving him opportunity. I mean, something has to change here. This is not good. Okay, this is not good at all. So 7 snaps, 6 snaps. I mean, that's ridiculous. And most of that's probably on special teams, probably mostly, how many times you on special teams? 6, 7 times a game, maybe, just depending, you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe more than that. I have no idea. Or he's barely on special teams at all. Maybe he's getting it. The past 2 weeks, I haven't seen him much in this defense. I haven't really seen it. Okay. And something's got to get done here. This is ridiculous. There's no excuse to have him sitting around and doing nothing. I mean, don't waste this guy the whole entire year. Don't redshirt him or have an excuse not to play him or how to use him. Just line him up on the edge. If you want to be selfish, just line him up on the edge, full-time defensive end in the rotation, and let him help this defensive line. Graham and really Sweat are the only ones that are producing on the defense, at least for defensive ends right now. Haven't been happy with Reddick. I haven't been happy, obviously, with Derek Barnett. Hasn't done much of anything, okay? And Nolan Smith just needs more. He's a first-round pick. I mean, it is just clean. It's common sense. Why wouldn't you play this guy? At least get, 40% of the snaps, 35% of the snaps, whatever it is. The guy just needs a chunk of playing time. Let this guy eat and do what he's got to do. I don't know why the opportunity's not there. Sean Desai, is he another coach that's still learning? As much as we're trying to get this pass game going right now with Brian Johnson, what's Sean Desai's problem with not playing Nolan Smith the past couple weeks as a first-round pick? Is he not panning out? Is he not playing well? I can't believe he's not. I can't believe that he's not making I saw way too much this offseason to tell myself that, oh, he's just not good enough. No way. I'll never believe that. Guy needs more playing time. No excuses for it. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think just about what the move from Howie Roseman might be. Letting go of 2 players in Rashaan Evans, which was well needed when Nakobe Dean went out with the foot injury, is going to be out a month. They just released the guy that hasn't even been here a whole entire week, and Rashaan Evans, that was, supposed to give us more depth at linebacker since, Nicholas Morrow was moved up to the active roster and will be, obviously the starting linebacker probably against Tampa Bay on Monday night for, probably for the next few weeks. He'll be starting until Nakobe Dean gets back. And then, what could they be going after here? I think Jeremy Chin trade could happen. Maybe Buda Baker is another one, which is a totally different position, but it's just weird how he just ended up on the injury report out of nowhere at the same time, the same day yesterday when the Eagles released 2 players. Just kind of weird, but I'm not going to get my hopes up about it or act like it's going to happen because it's a coin toss, at the end of the day. So, are they just going to stick with, could this be for a whole nother position for the Eagles going after somebody, maybe making a trade for somebody, but maybe having the idea that some games, maybe Bradbury will play on the inside to have those bigger matchups with the bigger wide receivers or, the big tight ends that he can handle it. Because I think with James Bradbury and A.J. Brown, I think what they've done in the past couple training camps, even in the offseason, I think the matchup has always paired very well with James Bradbury kind of winning some matchups with A.J. Brown and A.J. Brown doing a good job on Bradbury as well. So I think, iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. So they could go back to Job on the outside because, like I said, thought he played really well. Could they give Eli Ricks a shot, and activate him as well and not, so we'll see. They go after nickel, they go after safety. If they add another linebacker, maybe they just don't like Rashaan Evans. I have no idea. I don't think they're adding to linebacker. I think it comes down to safety. It might come down to nickel corner, which makes it obvious because Avonte Maddox is out. They released 2 guys, and it has to be for nickel corner, I would believe, unless they like Bradbury on the inside and want to switch some guys around a little bit, which they worked in the offseason. So let me know what you guys think about all the news, and I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, follow? So peace out, guys. Peace.